Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be discussing all the books that I read in January plus my February reading plans. So crack open a cold one and let's get to yapping. Crispy. Up first, we started this year off with a massive banger. I read my first 5-star read, Postmortem of a Poem. Now, this is book 6 in the Autopsy of a Fairy Tale series, so if you like fantasy mixed with your murder mystery plus romance and a little bit of magic, this is going to be right up your alley. Autopsy of a Fairy Tale series follows a bunch of fairy tale retellings, but make them murder scenes, and this one specifically is The Little Mermaid, and I absolutely devoured it. I absolutely adored all of the little Easter eggs that we got from The Little Mermaid throughout the book, and not to mention there were conversations between the MMC and the FMC that I felt like were really big conversations for even just a normal relationship, and I feel like they navigated that really, really well because the way that Belle and Eamon is written, it makes them feel like a real life couple instead of something that would like not exist in the real world. Even though I suspected who the suspect might be, I was still in shock over how the revelation came about and what actually all went down when the suspect was revealed. I was very impressed. And then at the end, I literally just sat and stood at a wall for like a good 20 minutes because what was that cliffhanger? Didn't even know what to do with myself, and now I'm basically impatiently waiting for book number 7. Up next, I read the first book in the Pomegranate trilogy by Nicole Scarano. Now this follows how Hades came to be, but make Hades a woman, and I absolutely loved the new take on the Greek mythology lore on how Hades was a woman. Now, she started out as a mortal human being, but then when the Olympians were fighting the Titans, she gained favor with Zeus, and Zeus made her an immortal, which allowed her to live on the Olympian mountain with them. And not to mention, Zeus and Hades were lovers until Zeus basically went behind her back, so to speak. And so the first book is mainly about a revenge plot, but you also get found family. I absolutely loved all the aspects of the underworld with the dark beasts and the friends that she made that quickly became family. It does have a mortal lover in here, and I absolutely loved how she did that. I also really enjoyed how the name Persona Fee got thrown around. But 4.5 stars. After Pomegranate, I of course had to go into book number 2, which is Pitchfork. Now this is just a continuation on Hades and how she came to be. Not only that, but we also get a lot of her past, how she was truly able to become the god of the underworld. With dark mysteries coming into play and her ancestral history coming into play, I really, really enjoyed this one. 4.5 stars. So read Bluebird Gold, which I rated 5 stars. Now this is a romantic suspense found family. The sheriff is the MMC and single dad trope. I did not know about the single dad trope when I first went into it, but I absolutely loved it. Okay, I ate this book up. This book gave me all of the feelings that I got from Indigo Ridge, which is the first book in her Eden series, and I absolutely love that series. I loved the romantic suspense surrounding each book, and this book gave me that Devney Perry feeling, if you know what I mean. It didn't feel like it was copy and paste of any of her other books. Like, this was a book all on her own, and I literally can't wait for the second book. But this one in particularly follows her FMC, and she just loses her dad, so she has to go and she has to get his estate ready, his estate cleaned. But while she's doing that, she's starting to second guess her father's death and how that came about. And because she's starting to second guess these things, she brings them up to the sheriff, and then he starts to second guess those things. So not only do you get a romance between them two, but you also get the mystery of uncovering secrets that leads to an absolute crazy, mind-boggling plot twist that I did not see coming at all. But the epilogue was obviously so sweet, and it definitely put the book all together, and I absolutely loved it. Up next, we read Kings of Quarantine. Now this was a buddy read with my bestie Brittany. I really enjoyed this book. Now, I read Zodiac Academy, and I love and adore that series with my whole entire being. And so I don't understand why it took me so freaking long to read this book. It has been sitting on my TBR just collecting dust for about 3 years now. Let me tell you, I totally forgot how easy it is to read a Twisted Sisters book with the way that they write and how they suck you into the story, and it doesn't even feel like you're reading. Plus, I love the extra layer of humor that they always add in their books. And specifically, it follows a pandemic, which ironically is called the Hades virus, which I laughed when I found that out because I had been reading the Pomegranate trilogy by Nicole Scarano this month. It basically takes after 2020, which was our COVID pandemic. So throughout this book, and you find similarities of the things that we went through in 2020, like the toilet paper and having to be shut down and locked in one place. But for our FMC, that is not something that she was wanting to happen, okay? Now the FMC, her and her dad are basically by themselves, and she is very used to moving around town to town, state to state, so she's never in one place too long, so she never feels like she has to make genuine friendship connections or really put herself out there. When her dad drops her off at Everlake Prep, she knows that she's going to have to build those genuine friendships and those connections, and she knows that she's going to have to put herself out there. And everything was going great for our FMC until she caught the eyes of the brutal Everlake boys, and then they decide to make her life a living hell, which those conditions only worsen when they are forced to never basically leave campus until the virus dies down. With this 4.75, I'm super excited to get into book 2, which I'm holding off till March because I have some big plans in February, which I will tell you about in just a minute. I have Gallows Hill by Darcy Coates. Now, I rated this book 4.75 stars, and this was basically everything that you want in a slow burn, slow-paced supernatural horror, and I absolutely love how Darcy did this. Plus, the plot twist, oh, it twisted me up. I was not expecting that. I didn't even come close to guessing at what happened, and I love it when I don't guess it because it makes it all that more surprising. Gallows Hill follows our FMC, and she tragically loses her parents, which weirdly enough, she had been living with her grandparent this entire time. So she had left her family's estate when she was 8 years old and stayed with her grandmother until her parents died. So now she's around, I think, late 20s, early 30s, and she has to get her parents' estate in order. Not only that, but also the business that they ran. So her family's fortune basically came from their winery, the Gallows Hill Winery. She's a little bit in and over her head. She doesn't plan to stay at the estate. She just wants to stay as long as it takes to get everything in order and back up and running, so she doesn't have to deal with it all. But she has that inkling of she wanted to know more about who her parents were. And that's when basically everything starts to go a little downhill. Up next, we have my physical TBR read for January, which is Under Lock and Key. I rated this a solid 4 stars. Guys, I was actually really shocked and surprised with how much I enjoyed this book. Going into it, I thought it was just going to be basically a normal rom-com plus the Loch Ness Monster. I didn't know that there was going to be elements of secrets and magic throughout the book. I really, really enjoyed it. It's kind of like a trend for on here. FMC loses her parent. She loses her dad, and so she wants to go discover herself more. She's from Scotland, but she's never been. She wants to know more about her dad, and she wants to connect with her estranged family, and in doing so, she meets Lachlan, who is not only an irritating man for her, but he's also the family's farmhand. With them two together, they start to unravel family secrets, and she also learns that their bloodlines are actually rival bloodlines dating back to centuries ago. They keep uncovering family history. She figures out that he needs her help, and I'm not going to tell you what she needs to help him with, but it is very interesting. And then last but not least, we have Armored Hours by Stephanie Hansen. Now, I was so excited about this book. I felt like it was going to be 5 stars. This is Cable Girls meets Peaky Blinders meets Titanic, and it follows this group of women who are fighting for women's rights to vote, for contraception, and this group of women, specifically Claudia, she has hearing disabilities from when she was a child. She had meningitis, so it caused her to have basically a deaf ear, And I absolutely loved that representation because I do have a hearing disability. I have to wear hearing aids in order to be able to hear. So see that represented in a book, especially from a female main character who is strong and resilient and brave and independent, I really, really liked that. I also really like the historical aspect because not only do you get this close group of women, you also get the MMC, Alex, who is a bootlegger, and they are able to work together. The only reason why it wasn't 5 stars is because the fantasy and magical element that goes on in this book really confused me. I did not know that there was a recommended reading order, so I feel like that's my fault. I feel like maybe if I read it in the recommended reading order, I would probably understand a lot more about the magical elements of this book, but I still really, really enjoyed it. This is Reincarnated Souls Book 1. The second one is Guarded Time, which I am excited to read about, but I also feel like there could have been more to this story. I feel like it was a little bit rushed, but nonetheless, solid 4 stars. Those are all the books that I read in the month of January. Now moving on to my reading plans for February, guys, I'm so excited. If you can't tell from my shirt what we're doing or my nails, don't judge my nails, okay? I tried to do them myself. I am a Ravenclaw from Harry Potter, so I tried to make them Ravenclaw themed, but still Harry Potter. Yeah, but I like them, and that's all that matters. But we are going to be spending the month of February reading the entire Harry Potter series. I ain't holding all them books, I'm holding the first 2. I'm so excited. I've never read the book series. I grew up on the movies, and I remember my mom taking us to the movie theater to watch them when we were kids, and those are such fond memories of me and my mom. So I'm really excited to read these books. I know that I'm going to love them, but I also have plans to read a book, vlog my thoughts, and then also watch the movie with you guys. And then compare which one I thought was better, either the book or the movie. I'm really, really excited. Other book that I will be reading, which is whatever I pull out of my physical TBR jar when I go and pick that book. I am going to be starting Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone today, so I'm hoping that I will have my first reading vlog plus watch party up for you guys by the end of this week, so please keep an eye out for that. I have for you guys today. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, please hit subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.